Okay, let's roll into our post-race for tonight's Emory Healthcare 500 here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Our third-place finisher is Jimmie Johnson. He drives the number 48 Lowe's Cobalt Tool Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. Jimmie, you certainly had a car that ran up front most of the evening, and you had said earlier you really wanted to see how things played out here at Atlanta that could maybe tell some things in the future for the 48 team. What did you find out?
Yeah, I think that we've had some problems on the mile-and-a-half, 2-mile tracks, and tonight with the setup we brought and the way we worked on things, seemed that we could adjust on the car and improve the car throughout the night, and be there at the end of the race. So I feel like we're going down the right path. I know that we've run better than our finishes show over the last few months. We've had a bunch of incidents on top of running bad at a few tracks. I can't deny that. But I'm excited to clinch. I just don't want to go into Richmond and have to worry about racing my way through that. So that's a huge relief for myself and this team. And tonight was a solid night. We had a race with the 9 and the 99 that was so much fun, and that's the way racing should be. And then even there at the end, I was running the 99 down, and we got a little strung out there. But still, to have a car to see the front and to race hard with these guys and adjust on it all night says a lot for the 48 team going forward. Thank
you, Jimmie. We'll take questions now. I think David Newton had one, then Dustin, and then John. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, two things, Jimmie. You did mention the racing was fun out there. It seemed like you saw some of the better racing of the season on a mile-and-a-half track. Can you comment on that and what that was like? And Tony winning a race, he's been really strong for 2 months now. Getting a race win, is that going to make him a legitimate contender?
Yeah, he's been showing a lot of speed and a lot of consistency. We know that they have great equipment, and it's just a matter of that the 14 and the 39 team gelling and all the people inside of Stewart Haas Racing, and those guys have been doing great. I mean, we've had to go to them a few times for help to get our stuff going in the right direction. So happy for Tony as a friend, and then from the teammate side, happy to see that as well. The racing, I guess because there are so many lanes here that we could find clean air. You had Carl on the bottom, I was kind of in the middle, and Casey was on the top, and our cars were all real equal, and there was enough room to race kind of side by side and be in clean air. When we get to some of the mile-and-a-halfs, there's really only one lane to run, and it's if you're behind someone and don't have clean air, you're at such a disadvantage you can't get up alongside of the guys. So I think we put on a good show. I wish that last caution didn't come out. There's no telling who would have won that thing. Maybe all three of us would have been a big wad and someone else would have won, but it was going to be a lot of fun.
Let's go with Dustin and then John over here to David. Go ahead, Dustin.
Dustin Long, Landmark Newspapers. Jimmie, you've talked in the past about you feel like you guys have run well here in this last stretch, just haven't had the results. What does it mean to get the results? I'm sure you guys can say to each other, hey, we ran well, but when you have a 25th or 30th place finish, that's got to bog a team down, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big confidence booster. Might sound crazy, but for myself, for Chad, to be in the heat of the race at the end when pit stops count, the adjustments count, strategy counts. That's the stuff you need to be on your game with during the chase, and to get a good race here, to be in that moment and to feel the pressure is something we needed. And it was that pressure is fun to have, and it was a familiar excitement inside of me, and I was excited to be out there racing with everybody and being a part of it. And hopefully we can go to Richmond and get in that moment again to be as prepared as we can for the chase.
Let's go with John and then David, and then we'll go to the press box. Go ahead.
Yeah, John Gunn, NASCAR Illustrated. What was the missing ingredient though for you tonight that you would have needed to win this one?
I think that the run where the 9, the 99, and myself were running, 3 wide basically. If I could have got the lead at that point, I think I would have checked out. And if there were no cautions, I think I could have won. That last restart, the 99 was in front of me. He spun his tires, and whoever was on the outside, I guess the 14 had some trouble. And I tried to go up the middle of those guys, and when I did, we started kind of bouncing off one another, and I had to check up. And now I'm 3 wide through 1 and 2, and Carl and Tony got away. And I started reeling those guys back in. So I wish that I would have got a good restart at the end of that. I think the race was decided once we exited turn 2 after we took the green. Track position was important enough that the fact that Tony had it, I think he probably would have controlled the race. But I wish I had a chance to get up in there and see what I could have done.
Go David Caravello, and then to the press box, and then over to Jim. Go ahead, David.
David Caravello, NASCAR.com, on your right, Jimmie. Going back to your earlier comments, can you comment a little bit more about how tonight is bigger than just Atlanta? I take it to mean that you guys have done some things that you can use at other intermediate tracks going forward once the chase begins. Is it that simple, or is there more to it than that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the setup we ran tonight will work on other tracks, and the thought process that goes with it will work. The thing that I'm encouraged about is that we could adjust on the car and make positive gains, where some of the stuff we've been running, we adjust on it, and all we do is hurt the car and slow it down as the race goes on. So, there's that aspect, and then as I mentioned before, the fact that we're in there racing with everyone, pit stops counted, strategy counted, those juices as a driver to, frothing at the mouth and chewing on the wheel, racing as hard as you can. It was good to go back through all of that for crew chief, driver, for all of us to get ready for the chase.
Okay, let's hear now from our race runner-up, and he has clinched a spot in the 2010 chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. That is Carl Edwards. He drives the number 99 Aflac Ford for Roush Fenway. Carl, you certainly had a car that ran up front really the entire evening, led a lot of laps, and have clinched a spot in the chase. Your thoughts about the whole gamut of thing? Like I said, you led so many laps tonight. Had to be one of your strongest performances of the season.
Yeah, when we talked in here on Saturday, that's one of the things we talked about is we haven't led a lot of laps. We haven't had that dominant car, and tonight I felt like we had a car as good or better car than we've had all season, really for maybe a season and a half. And really proud of my guys. The last pit stop was spectacular. That's probably the best pit stop I've ever had. And it's like Jimmie said, when you run up front like that, you kind of get in that mode of racing for the win and the victory, and that is good for everyone, and especially for us at this point. I feel like we've scored a ton of points the last 7 or 8 races. We've performed probably better in that stretch than we ever have, and it makes me really excited. And I'm really looking forward to the chase. It's going to be fun.